it's easy for people to that have been kind of, I guess, punished by this kind of form of conservatism that's all about kind of protecting the the market before human life. It's really easy for any alternative to that to look shit and wishy-washy and naive and utopian. And then but you look at people like Corbyn's, I think it was his 2017 manifesto. Oh, I think it was his 2017 manifesto. Well, when it was blind read, the vast majority of people agreed with it. So the manifesto was sound. I think it had really positive results.
Yeah.
And it was a great manifesto, in fairness. It was a really good Labour manifesto. But then everything else beyond the manifesto is pure spin, isn't it? And it's smearing, and it's partly the person, he didn't help in some ways, but he was the most smeared leader of the opposition I think we've ever had, ever.
Yeah. Well, I think it sort of that speaks to a couple of points there. So the first one is it sort of tells you exactly how personality driven like political campaigning and Fleet Street papers are. So when people look at Labour policies, as you say, blindly, they don't know that it's a Labour policy. They're really fucking popular. They love Labour policies because they're policies that are going to make their lives easier, right? Yeah. They're going to make you better off. When you take the veil up and you show that it's a Labour policy, or you see Corbyn's face or Starmer's face, at that point, then it's like, oh, well, I don't know about that, and that tells you everything you need to know about how people on the left are portrayed by the media and how that is then amplified by the broader media. So there's that. I forget my second point now. Over to you.
It's really depressing, isn't it? Because and it shows you just how much power broadcasters, and increasingly broadcasters, because the BBC, and watching the ITV yesterday was like a fever dream, because it was very similar. It was a very rose-tinted view of Rishi Sunak.
Yeah.
With only a little bit of like, oh, look at the timing. Oh, like very brief, nod to that. So, but Labour, I think, are in a really tricky position. But I think we need to see beyond it simply being Tory versus Labour.
Yeah.
You can see that Davies Lib Dems are getting quite a lot of footfall. Some of those are people that inexplicably are disgruntled ex-Labour voters that are very pro-Corbyn, are going for like a very centrist party in Lib Dems, which makes no fucking sense to me, because that's what they accuse Starmer of being. And then you've got people that are not happy with the Tories but don't like Labour. And then you've got, your standard Lib Dem voters. But sometimes it's more a protest vote, I think, the Lib Dem vote.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I would happily go with a coalition, but I think whatever we do, we must vote tactically for the Conservatives' opposition in our constituency. There are going to be resources nearer the time. It's going to be a fight against, people. I still almost feel ridiculous saying it, but it's going to be a fight against all-out authoritarianism and fascism. We're meeting all the key indicators of it. It's lunchtime. And there's also, as you were saying earlier on about voter ID, there's disenfranchising people. They're accepting bus passes from older people's bus passes and train passes, Oyster cards, I think it is.
Yeah.
Not accepting student ID cards and student rail cards as voter ID. So they're bringing down the shutters. And if you look at the graph, the most people that vote Tory are over 50 upwards. Yeah. Like they're traditionally blue voters. But we're getting to a point now where there's no way that Ed Davey or Starmer's Labour would accept any of what's going on now. They just would not have it as people. I mean, Starmer's offered to do the honourable thing and resign if he's found to be guilty. To make a point, I don't think, I think that'd be a travesty if he did. But he said he'll do it. But they're not all the same. But there's so much that we can do with our tactical vote. And if we're not happy necessarily with the choices that, say, a Labour Lib Dem coalition put through, if we use our tactical vote powerfully, we can get them out again.
Yeah.
Start our own. I'd say it's on another podcast. We could start our own party and become like, cool Farages, like the anti-Farage. But
well, I'm starting my own cult.